across the country, tackling the topics everyone is talking about online. Share, engage, and interact. This is Newsfeed Now.
Good Tuesday morning, a terrific one at that. Thanks so much for joining us for Newsfeed Now. I'm your host, Hillary Hunt. We're going to be taking a look at today's trending stories. Of course, the final preparations for Inauguration Day. People from all walks of life calling for unity right now in a sports mystery, as well as celebrating one of my favorite country legends on her big birthday. We've got all that's coming to you in the next 15 minutes right in the palm of your hand. But of course, we need to start at our nation's capital. Congress has kicked off the first confirmation hearing. They're going to do it later this morning for President-elect Joe Biden's cabinet nominations. But as preparations for tomorrow's inauguration continues, we've got someone covering it for you. Our Washington correspondent Jesse Turner is going to let us know what you can expect on the eve of the historic oath. Take a look.
The Biden-Harris inauguration ceremony will have the smallest attendance on the west side of the Capitol, but the largest security presence in U.S. history, amid a pandemic and the aftermath of an insurrection.
I will walk there to that moment proudly with my head up and my shoulder back.
Vice President-elect Kamala Harris remains undeterred by any potential risks, and she will take her oath not before a crowd of people, but a sea of flags, representing another threat, the coronavirus.
We're going into Wednesday knowing that we're ready to do the work.
The 200,000 U.S., state, and territorial flags on the National Mall recognize the nearly 400,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19. Harris and President-elect Joe Biden will honor them tonight with lights at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool.
The health of the nation is literally at stake.
In his first 100 days in office, Biden will work to provide 100 million doses of the vaccine and pass a nearly $2 trillion COVID-19 relief package.
There is a lot to do. Some would say that ours is an ambitious goal, but we do believe with hard work and with the cooperation and collaboration of the members of the United States Congress that we can get it done.
President Donald Trump has not made any public statements this week and will skip the inauguration for his own departure ceremony. But in her farewell address, First Lady Melania Trump called on every American to help end the pandemic.
Every life is precious, and I ask all Americans to use caution and common sense.
We want to bring in Jesse Turner joining us from our nation's capital. I almost said our state capital there. Jesse, I bet you're tired. You've been covering this for a while. Tell us some more about the preparations that are in place ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah, I actually just heard from some reporters who have covered this in the past that have said that they've been in the Capitol for inaugurations, they've been for State of the Unions, even a papal visit. I just saw a tweet saying that, and then this is the most security that they've still ever seen. And that's, of course, because of the January 6th insurrection. And so even though, there is all of this talk of, the city under siege, things like that, and, it being a fortress, it really is confined to just that area between the Capitol and the White House and, of course, National Mall, things of that nature, too. But for most of the city, except for some traffic and stuff here and there, there's not really a whole lot of presence. It's just targeted to that area. And so they're obviously taking things very seriously. We saw that play out yesterday when there was a fire not far from the Capitol, and it ended up being at a homeless camp, but the entire Capitol complex went on lockdown for about an hour. And it ended up being pretty much, just a false alarm. And so it just kind of shows, though, like the nervousness and just how everybody, even from journalists, lawmakers to, the members of the military and law enforcement themselves, are really kind of on edge.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of people on edge, and they're going above and beyond with those safety protocols. I just recently saw an article about them going through even the security they're bringing in, making sure that they have no ties to, any type of militia or anything like that. They're vetting every security member that's even a part of this high security detail.
Yeah, that's right. They're taking all of this very seriously to make sure, like you said, they're not part of, any sort of fringe group, anything of that nature, since there was, from what the FBI and other officials have been able to find, a very large law enforcement presence participating in the insurrection January 6th. They want to make sure to keep doing this. And defense officials did say that, this is kind of typical protocol in a way, but of course, still amplified because of everything that has happened.
And lastly, I want you to kind of talk about that somber tribute. In your package, you showed all the flags that represent, the hundreds of thousands of people who have died from COVID-19. That's really on a national stage and a platform right now ahead of the inauguration.
Yeah, most definitely. It was going to be the main thing that kind of cast this shadow over, a typical celebratory pomp and circumstance inauguration, just because, not only have we lost just so many lives so far already here in the US, but because it impacted the inauguration celebrations in and of itself. They are only expecting about 1,000 people to be in attendance tomorrow. And of course, these things can usually draw millions. And most of those in attendance will be family members and then a guest of members of Congress that they're still allowed to bring. And so, yeah, moving forward, it is going to be interesting to see exactly, what this ends up looking like, since it'll be very different for many reasons, not just the pandemic.
Very different. Thanks so much, Jesse Turner out of Washington, D.C., who's going to continue our coverage for us even into tomorrow. Thank you, Jesse. But let's talk about the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Here's something. President-elect Joe Biden will not lift coronavirus travel restrictions that President Trump, his outgoing request was to lift them. President Trump ordered an end to those restrictions just yesterday, as new regulations would require incoming travelers to have proof of a negative test. The incoming Biden administration plans to keep travel bans on places like Europe and Brazil, something we'll continue to watch. And speaking of President Trump, all eyes are on him as he prepares for a list of pardons, more than 100 of them, and commutations, and he doesn't plan to include himself. According to records, President Trump privately discussed with his advisors whether he should issue a pardon for himself or preemptive pardons for members of his family. Trump met with those advisors Sunday to finalize the list. They also report the clemencies were expected to be issued today. Trump's presidency ends at noon tomorrow. And I mean, this is rumors, but I'm hearing Tiger King could possibly be involved, but that's a rumor, that's a rumor, but we don't know. I'm also hearing Lil Wayne. You never know what he's going to do. But the group of voices calling for national unity ahead of Joe Biden's inauguration is continuing to grow. We've been hearing about this. This is including some unexpected figures like a big-time country music singer and a Republican congresswoman who previously was a huge supporter of President Trump. Alexandra Limon reports that even those calling for unity say it's going to be a really tough road ahead.
Country singer Garth Brooks is among the voices calling for national unity.
I want to spend the next 10 years of my life not divided. I'm so tired of being divided.
Brooks announced he'll perform at the swearing-in ceremony of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
In a celebration and an honorable day in this country where the new president takes over. It's a beautiful day.
It isn't just celebrities and Democrats who are calling for harmony. Republican members of Congress also say it's time for unity.
We have reconciliation that needs to happen within our own party. We need to rebuild the Republican Party. We need to rebuild our country.
South Carolina Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace says unity will require speaking up for what's right, even if it's hard.
How do we hold a president accountable that put all of our lives at risk?
Previously a strong supporter of President Trump, Mace says it's time for change.
I want to be a new voice for the Republican Party, and that's one of the reasons I've spoken out so strongly against the president, against these QAnon conspiracy theorists that led us in a constitutional crisis. It's just wrong, and we got to put a stop to it.
Unlike many House Republicans, Mace did not vote to reject the election results because she says Joe Biden won the election fairly, a fact the courts have confirmed in dozens of cases. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
Thank you so much, Alexandra. Let's talk about the coronavirus. It's really reaching a new grim milestone in the U.S. for the coronavirus pandemic. More than 400,000 people have died with COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. Thursday marks 1 year since the U.S. confirmed its first case, and they're only growing. Reports show more than 2 million people have died with the coronavirus across the world, but the U.S. death toll is still the world's worst. A very sombering number there. But out of the 400,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19, more than 32,000 of those deaths coming from the state of Texas. When we hear that number, it can be, really hard to put a perspective on just how many people it is. We know it's a lot, but it's kind of hard to imagine. Tom Miller spoke with an Austin artist showing us the scope of this massive loss.
A mesmerizing field of red, white, and pink transforms the grass in front of Shane Riley's Central Austin home into a blanket of color.
I thought, how do I visually represent it? These are real people And there's a lot of them.
This eye-catching tribute became a daily project for Riley starting in May.
I think I started with 972.
When we met Riley, Texas had recently crossed 31,000 deaths.
I'm just sort of putting these flags in wherever there's an empty space.
He's now putting out more than 200 flags every day.
When I started this, I had it all in neat rows, like Arlington Cemetery or something. Never thought that I'd be hunting for places to put flags.
This is personal for Riley. His son is immunocompromised and can't afford to get sick.
We've been pretty diligent about, trying to be safe.
Other loved ones had to fight for their lives.
I have family members that have been hospitalized. Thankfully, no one's died.
His yard serves as a reminder of just how many have not been so lucky. Some stopping to write down the names of those they've lost.
This isn't just a flag. That's someone's mom or dad. That's somebody's friend that died.
Riley hopes this reminder turned memorial will encourage others to stay safe and potentially save lives.
Speaking of saving lives, COVID vaccinations are underway across the country, and as grandparents receive their vaccines, many are wondering, hey, when am I going to see my grandkids? When am I going to be able to see my family again? Sarah Cody spoke with a Connecticut doctor to get an idea of when it could be safe for them to gather with their families.
Once vaccinated, senior citizens will want to spend time with their grandkids, but
it's a very complicated decision to make.
Dr. Henry Animadu, an infectious disease specialist with Hartford Healthcare, says older folks should wait until both doses of the vaccine have been administered, then allow 2 to 3 additional weeks to go by.
You will be about 95% protected, but there's still the risk that you could get the virus. There are still asymptomatic transmissions that can happen.
It's not known if people who are vaccinated could still be carriers of the virus, but he understands loneliness has been a real problem too.
We've been socially isolated for about how many months now? 9 months. We've lost count even. And so people are ready to be out there to spend time with family. Would have to play it based on what's most important to you.
Listen to this. Animadu lays out a pretty positive scenario.
In the big frame of things, I think it should be reasonably safe if both parties are vaccinated and they've waited for 2 to 3 weeks.
Family members should continue to wear masks, sanitize, and social distance to further minimize the small risk of transmission.
When we see about 70 to 85% of Americans vaccinated, then we can begin to talk about herd immunity. In that case, there will be nowhere for the virus to live, right? We won't be creating homes for the virus anymore, and hopefully it will fizzle out.
Animadu says we need to change our perspective on vaccines and focus on how they're important tools in risk reduction strategies.
Some good tips there, and hope is on the horizon. But let's talk some sports. This is something that everyone has been wondering. The New Orleans Saints obviously have a lot of unanswered questions after that tough loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The question is, quarterback Drew Brees, we all know him, we all love him. Is he going to stay for next season? Is he going to retire? Everyone's talking about it. ESPN, everyone's all over Twitter. Kenny Lopez spoke with Saints fans to get their take.
Intercepted by Mike Edwards.
Another disappointing loss for the Saints and their loyal fans, all looking forward to the team playing in this year's Super Bowl.
I was so disappointed last night. Couldn't even sleep.
A sleepless night for many in the Houdat Nation who are now left wondering what's next, especially with rumors swirling that quarterback great Drew Brees will now retire.
I'm going to give myself an opportunity to think about the season, think about a lot of things, just like I did last year, and make a decision.
With Drew's decision not yet made, fans are weighing in.
It's totally up to him. If he feels that he can go a few more seasons for us, then go for it.
I am thankful for all Drew has done for the city as a representative, and he's played his guts out, but I think it's time for him to hang it up.
We appreciate going to the Super Bowl. We all have our Drew Brees jerseys, but let someone else have a chance.
He's still good. I think Drew Brees is still a good quarterback. I mean, Brady is 40-some years old, and he's doing great.
And how does Brees feel about his performance this past season?
Probably had to fight through more than I've ever had to in any other season in my career. from injury to all the COVID stuff to just crazy circumstances, man, it was worth every moment of it.
But for many fans, the reality of the black and gold not playing in the Super Bowl, it's heartbreaking.
I'm not going to have a Super Bowl. I almost was crying last night. The Saints, we're not going again. We're not going again.
I can't take any more getting so close. I want another Super Bowl before I die.
So whether Drew hangs up his cleats or not, fans still say, "Who dat? Drew's all dat."
We got to bring in Kenny Lopez from New Orleans, and I know Kenny's been trying to debunk it to figure out, is he going to stay, is he going to go? Kenny, I'm a Bucs fan, I'm from Tampa, but I got to know, because I still love Drew Brees. Is he going to retire? What are you hearing?
Rumors are still swirling, but Saints fans are just so happy that he's played with the Saints since 2006. And you know what? Many of these Saints fans say he was part of the reason that the city spirit came back after Hurricane Katrina. So fans don't want to see him go quite yet. A lot of fans still think that he has maybe one more season left in him.
Kenny, I know everyone hopes he does have another season because he is one heck of a quarterback. Kenny, thanks so much for joining us from New Orleans, and he does so much for the city too. So, hopefully he sticks around. We got to talk about the Super Bowl. I'm hoping my Tampa Bay Bucs are going to the Super Bowl, but we don't know yet. It's almost here, and it's a who's game. We don't know who's going to be in it, who's not. We still got to wait till this weekend, but it's in my hometown of Tampa Bay. That's where the game's going to be played, and they are already underway, getting ready for that big Super Bowl experience. Obviously, it's going to be so different because of COVID-19, but crew's still working hard to bring an interactive theme park. Check this out. Fans will have the opportunity to virtually meet and greet with players, legends, play some games, even buy some merch. That's the best stuff at the Super Bowl. Fans can attend that experience for free in the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. Woohoo! But hey, we got to talk about some college basketball. The Associated Press released its most recent top 25 poll, and you're going to be shocked by this. 3 teams that are always ranked. I mean, it is like a no-brainer. Duke, Kentucky, and North Carolina, the Tar Heels. All 3 aren't in the top 25 for the first time since 1961. What is happening? These 3 programs have 19 national championships combined. And we are just wondering who's going to pick it up and get a win this season. That is a yikes. 1961 the last time. Crazy stuff there. But speaking of crazy, how about some money? Crazy money here. Speaking of it all, someone could be a multi-millionaire tonight with the Mega Millions drawing. Could it be you? Could it be me? Let's go on a vacation. If someone wins tonight, it will be the 3rd largest jackpot in U.S. history. Right now, it is worth a whopping $850 million. If you don't win tonight, maybe you win the Powerball. That one's still up for grabs. That drawing is tomorrow, and Steve and I both want to win. But hey, you know what? If you don't win the Mega Millions, here's another way you could make a little bit of cash. You like pizza? Maybe you like Netflix? You can get paid to binge watch Netflix and pizza taste tests all at the same time. Bonus Finder is now looking for an expert binge watcher. That's me. For their latest competition. The lucky winner will get paid $500 to watch 3 series on Netflix. Also get a stipend to order different pizzas. See which pizza goes with which show. All you have to do is give an in-depth analysis of the show and the food. I think I could do that. That's pretty easy. But you know what's even easier? Wishing a very happy birthday to my favorite country music icon. She turned 75 today. She doesn't even look it. Happy birthday, Dolly Parton. There she is. She's one of the most honored female country performers of all time. She holds 25 number 1s on the Billboard country charts. Dolly obviously is a great philanthropist. She supported a number of charity efforts, even started her own charity, the Dollywood Foundation, 1996, named after her Dollywood theme park in Pigeon Forge. That woman, she's a queen. All bow down to Dolly. I wonder if that statue is going to get built in Tennessee. We just got to wait and see. Thanks so much for joining us for Newsfeed Now. You know what? I hope your day makes you feel as rich as Dolly felt in her coat of many colors. If you know her, you get it. Be sure to join us tomorrow. Same place, same time. We're going to leave you with a little Jolene. And tomorrow's Inauguration Day. We're going to have everything on that. Happy birthday, Dolly. Let's play that Jolene.
You could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene.